I don't know why we got on this rant. What were we talking about? I forget.
What's next on the list?
What is next on the list? Man, I'm almost done with Anachronistic, and that feels weird. You took a deep breath, and then Discord didn't realize.
Oh no,
whatever you said.
I had nothing else. I was just kind of excited for you to talk about Anachronistic being almost dead. Almost dead.
Yeah. Almost dead. Freudian slip.
That was a slip that was way too accurate.
Hey guys, spoilers. Did you know Neil dies in the beginning of Anachronistic? It's the first thing that is said.
Could someone type who is Kyle really quick on my site? Just to give Kyle some links.
It says,
oh my god, my lungs, yes.
Yeah, so we mostly wrapped on episode 11. So there, I mean, like everyone who follows the thing, we put out sort of a last minute delay for episode 11. It normally would have come out on the 15th. We pushed it back to April 1st. We could have gotten it out on time, but we were talking, and it's like the finale is going to need a little bit of extra attention. Not as much as 10 did. Episode 10 was like a really massive production undertaking, and like there's a little bit of extra stuff involved in the finale because it's the finale. But like. The point is, there might have we couldn't guarantee there wouldn't have to be a delay for the finale, so we decided we'd rather have the gap be between episodes 10 and 11 than between 11 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
So 11's pretty much wrapped. Since we have extra time, we'll probably put a little more work into it. But point is, I'm writing and prepping the final episode of Anachronistic in my general workload these weeks, and man, I've worked on projects longer. I've worked on OTL longer. But there's something particular about wrapping this one. Like this one has been in the works for a long time. I started writing it before COVID.
Yeah.
And it is the best thing I've made so far. And I want to stress so far because I learned so much from it. The next thing's going to be like even better. And it's so wild to me to like kind of see the finish line of this season. And I'm really excited to share it with people. I've had the Neil's final rant like saved in a folder this whole time, and it was also kind of cool to crack that open and realize, oh, I can do better now.
That's real nice.
Yeah, that was a cool thing. And some stuff like did change in the process of me writing it from the original plan. I think I can't give any details obviously, but like Abigail makes a choice in episode 11 that was not in the plan, and it did sort of like throw up my original plans for the finale, and I'm really happy with that actually. I think it makes it a more fulfilling story. And I can't wait to hear what people think about that.
I like just it's almost that like I feel a little spoiled knowing that Abigail makes a choice, period. Because this Abigail is the second person.
Mm-hmm.
Abigail is in a like a second person narrative. Abigail is the recipient of that. Abigail is the you.
Mm-hmm.
Which I also did in my story.
I mean, yes, but
well,
go, you continue your thought. I'm sorry.
I'm interested in what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. And so I'm interested in the fact that like we're in a situation where we can know what Abigail chose or Abigail did. That's fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like if it makes you feel any better for the like spoiler purposes, like even though she is the second person, she's been making choices all throughout the story in the way that I mean here.
Has she?
Um, it's just she made a particular one that I like. When I say Abigail made a choice, I mean like the sapient version of the character in my head, not the one I am writing.
Oh no, I
The one
know.
that has free will did
Give,
something different than writer Kyle had planned. And
I had a plot hole that I was mulling on as I was writing chapter 2 of Wild Azaleas, and this character, Regent Susan, was actually a character that existed, that I knew existed in the world, but not actually in the script at all. And so, in dealing with a tiny plot hole in the first chapter, I said, oh, wait, it would make sense if this was something that Princess Susan orchestrated, because she's a powerful politician in this area. And so I just said, hey, by the way, yeah, it's like Azalea does a whole big like lore dump when she finally shows up and says, oh yeah, Regent Susan did this. I was like, oh wait, she did? Why? I was, oh, because of this reason. Oh, that makes total sense. But, you know, and moving on. And so I was like, wait a minute, I can actually introduce her as a character. And so, hence, like, it being, like, a big, like, the big procession page I have over here is, like, Regent Susan rolls in. Because, like, oh, yeah, this is an important person in this world. And so her showing up is kind of a big deal. And I think I communicated that really well on the other page. But before I even put pen to ink on Chapter 2, I was writing the whole script, and there's this particularly large plot hole that I just like, okay, part of my goal for writing the script, here's her big like moment of entry here. With her entourage, one of the things I needed to do was I need to write the answer to this plot hole. Like, this is, if I don't explain this in chapter 2, it would be a major flaw. So I need to fit it into chapter 2 somewhere, but I hadn't really decided exactly what bridged this place that we were at to this place that we needed to be at. And as I'm writing, I get to this point where Regent Susan's talking, and then she says the thing. And it was exactly what you just described, in that, like, all I needed to do was just put her into place and let the conversation hit the point and give her her moment, and then she just did her thing. And I was like, you fucking genius, you fucking smart-ass fictional character. I couldn't have thought of that.
Nice.
She does something so clever that I'm convinced that I didn't think of it. I can't wait to get there. It's going to be great.
I might have shared the story with you of the first novel I ever wrote, which changed drastically from the plan. I was doing it for NaNoWriMo, and I had a like audience surrogate window character that was really only supposed to last the first few chapters and then like disappear and not be important. And
like
honestly,
Boba
that
Fett.
would have been bad storytelling. And she was going to die off. And then the main character, who I had written as kind of a Vegeta, angsty, doesn't really save anyone, decided to save her. And then she became the actual main character. And it just all spiraled out of control. And it became a better story. But, man, that was weird, having that happen for the first time.
Yeah. It happened to me, I think the first time it really ever happened to me was in the Indies, where I wrote scenarios and then let my characters react to them. And I think like one of the strongest ones was, do you remember the scene in the Indies where Dustin just calls Natalie aside and said, hey, what you did wasn't cool and I'm not okay with it?
Yes.
That surprised me. Because I hadn't planned on that scene, but as things all came together, it seemed vital. And it's like they're like Natalie did what she did based on like presumptions and not complete information, and that put Dustin in a place that Natalie thought would be a good place, but Dustin thought was an awful place. And so Dustin had to come to her afterwards and said, "No. That wasn't as cool as you thought that was. In fact, it was kind of shitty." And that was it arrived organically, and my characters came to life more than I thought they would. Like, I didn't expect them to be as alive as they were in my brain when that happened. And I think that was kind of like my moment of, this is a way you can write fictional characters. You can adjust your camera so you can actually see your cat. You know what? It's just not focusing. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to turn off Zilla until she returns from her bath, I suppose. Yeah, you can write fictional characters in a way that that like you put them in a situation and you let them be themselves. And you can put yourself in a writing place where your own fictional characters can surprise you.
Yeah.
And I kind of can't believe that that's possible.
I can.
I mean, I can because I obviously literally do it, but, like, it seems mind-blowing that, like, an imaginary person in your brain can surprise actual you.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny as you were going through that. I was sort of trying to rack my brain to see if like anything in OTL specifically, because that's probably my like Punchline is Death is like gags and nonfiction, so it doesn't super like count. OTL's the like last big fiction thing I did before Anachronistic. I'm trying to think of if it ever surprised me the same way Anachronistic has, and no, I'm not sure. Like, there was a big moment where I, like, understood Cersei.
Yeah.
That was not really something I had planned, but it wasn't really so much about, like, anything in the writing. It was more just as I was sort of drawing the scene, it sort of all clicked as to what she was feeling in a situation. And I also, like, I had just gone through something in my life that really reminded me of how I imagined Cersei was feeling, and that made me feel very uncomfortable. So that was one.
How'd that turn out, Squirrel?
Anachronistic has had a couple of times, like, who Dave is as a person completely changed.
Love how he evolved.
Oh,
he was made to be hated, and then I ended up loving him.
Yeah. He took a turn when I wrote that episode, and I love the result so fucking much.
Big agree.
Squirrel says, "Wait, we were supposed to hate Dave." Yeah, I think I can talk about this. Yeah, no, we're well past this would be spoilers at all. I can't even remember if I told you the specifics of the original plan for Dave, Jared, but he was originally intended to be an abuser, and Abigail's sort of, like, weird feelings towards him was more about, like, hey, I was with this guy and I really liked him, but he was not good to me, and now he's dead, and I don't know how to feel about that. Whereas he became something a lot more and less cliche and not an asshole, and actually Abigail kind of ended up like it ended up being a very complicated relationship, and that was so good and so much better than the original plan.
I'm really glad. You know what? Like, I feel like the original plan would have been fine, but the actual result was instead amazing.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
agree.
no one would have like, I think, like, there's so much other layers. Like, Dave could have been a one-off. You know, he could have just been in that moment, right? And then we never visited him again, and that's done. Or it could have been like you just described him as like an actual like irredeemable asshole. But instead, you accidentally hit the biggest home run ever with that character. when you went to bunt and then said, "No, wait, I'm gonna put some strength into it," and then just fucking hit it into the stratosphere.
Yeah. So the original plan for that episode, in fact, was it was going to be completely different Daves that we saw stories from, and it just sort of didn't quite write itself that way. And as I wrote it, like this is how the whole thing came to be, and I was worried at first that it was conflicting with previous things, but then I looked at how Abigail had reacted, and I realized that like her emotional response kind of fit more what happened than what I had originally planned. And it was very serendipitous, if that makes sense.
It
Skullherd
does.
says, definitely a great change. Dave being an inevitably tragic character was much more potent. Yeah, no, that is one of my happiest like deviations from plan in this. Episode 10, one of the reasons why that script was so hard was I had a plan and then it deviated from it, and then I realized that deviation was bad and I had to bring it back to the original plan.
I actually have an anachronistic thing to say.
Yeah.
So I acted in episode 10, and I had to play Lawrence remembering...
So sorry.
Yeah, no, what are you sorry about?
Oh, it was hard.
Yeah, it was hard. No, I had to play Lawrence playing 3 other characters. I wasn't afraid of it. And it's like, okay, no, I kind of have a plan here, and I've got Fable around, so I know I'm like Fable's gonna like direct the fuck out of this. So it's like like whatever I try, Fable will rein it in. And so it's kind of like I'm on the trapeze, but Fable's my safety net. And so if I fall, I've got, Fable to pull it back together. I'm not failure isn't scary is what I'm trying to say. Like Fable's role in this was. And so it kind of like Fable being there meant, okay, go nuts and trust the safety net. And so I did. So I read the lines, and I read the lines as all the different characters. And then I went to go and listen to it. I didn't believe that was me. I'm listening to me play 4 characters. Play 1 character playing 3 characters. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck, I could do that? I did it? I can't believe I did it. And I guess I do take credit for it. I talk you up as a writer and I talk Fable up as a director like a lot, but like I kind of wanted to have a little self-esteem in this. Was like I knew I could do it. I tried doing it. You guys put me in a place to set me up for all the success possible, and I feel really fucking good about that performance. I feel fucking great about that. I feel great about it. I like it. It turned out good.
For like honest, not even like fluffing you up words. Fable's like additions to like soundscape, all you doing all the different voices were very minimal. I think we've actually kind of had a
soundscape is a different thing. I'm actually referring to Z's direction. And being there on call with us and listening to me deliver the lines and giving do this different, do that different. That's the specific Fable contribution I was referring to. But yes, Fable also added sound design to it, and it sounds great.
I guess what I mean to say is when you said you couldn't believe that it was you doing all those voices. Oh, it was 100% you doing all those voices.
The one regret I have is that I really, I didn't expect to be doing Mars and the other 2. I didn't expect to be doing the 3 time travelers. I thought at some point I would be playing...
You would be Lawrence doing Neil.
I would be Lawrence doing Neil. And I had that in my head since we first recorded Lawrence.
Yeah. And when you mentioned that to me, I'm like, oh, yeah, that would be...
And unfortunately, I don't think the universe will allow that. There's no real way. As far as I know the universe right now, I can't think of a way that would ever fit in.
Yeah, never say never, but it's not in the cards
It
at the
doesn't
moment.
look like a thing that would ever come around.
Uh,
Anyway,
but you did a great job.
thank you.
And Cassie did a really
Boy,
Cassie,
did she!
Yeah. It's
Kyle,
it's
I think you have talented
Oh.
friends because it
I
is
do.
phenomenal, like how it came together, and because like I think of Magnus Archives, and I think of like how they like pulled people together to do the roles, and I think they did a great job. But like some of the characters just don't. I don't know what I'm even trying to say, and I don't want to compare us to Magnus Archives. That's different fucking levels, right? But like. No, I'm gonna abort this. I don't like what I'm trying to say with this one. It's like
Legit.
all right, like yeah, I feel like with what we had to work with and us coming together as a team, I think we did a great job.
Yeah. I was well. I bring up Cassie because like I feel like Cassie has done work like being herself and using her own voice, but not really acting or playing characters until Anachronistic. And like, well, it's you haven't either. You do a lot of performing.
Yeah, this is a joke we've had long ago. Is that like I have the Jer voice and the how to run a show. I've done public speaking before, but I've never done like I'm pretty new to voice acting and like playing a character, and I'm pretty new to acting. That's not a thing. And you know what is that like I feel like I haven't done the part of acting that requires portraying complicated emotions. I'd say I feel like I did the job that I was asked to do, and I think I did it well. But as far as being an actor, I haven't done that. I haven't done like being an emotion. And I think that would be my next challenge. I think that would be like something where it's like actually doing an emotional performance of any capacity would be like the next thing that I would like to try and see if I can do it okay.
If it makes you feel any better, I feel like I really only hit where I'm comfortable drawing that line with 11. Like I acted my heart out for 11.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, there's some stuff I can't wait for you guys to hear. And yeah, it's definitely like it kind of feels like the next level I reached there.
I think like that kind of like frames like my perceived capacity for this, where it's just like it's something I'm new at, something I have a little bit of talent for, but I'm not a fucking expert at it. And it kind of goes back to what I say all the time when hanging on other Twitch streams is that like this is the third time this song is played. Let's switch to space.
You know what I want to roll back a little bit in that episode 8. The fight scene, I'm pretty happy with what I was able to accomplish there too. But I do think that 11's next level.
Well, I interrupted myself before I got to my point, which is that like art isn't a thing you're good or bad at. It's a toolbox you keep adding tools to. And so when I think about, hey, I can deliver lines pretty okay. I did a great job for this job, and I think I can do more, and I think I can continue to voice act. What the next tool I want to add to that toolbox is a little bit more emotion, and not just narrating lines, which is all that was asked of me, and I think I did what was asked of me just fine. But like you know, if I go on to do my own podcast with it, I've been planning quietly, to sneak some emotions in there, to sneak some a little bit more acting. As by the definition of acting, it's a new thing, and I like it, and I think I'm all right at it. And
I think
Anachronistic is good, Kyle. You did real good. It's really good. You did good.
Thank you. I'm really proud of it. I am so proud of it.
And all that like praising myself and pretending I have self-esteem that I just did, like that's because Kyle put me in a position Kyle said, here's a platform for success. Oh, neat. I'll stand on that platform. Okay, thank you, Kyle, because I would never have done that if you hadn't put me in that position. And it's really good. You're good at it. You're good. You're cool.
Well, like, one thing specifically you said, whereas like you were narrating lines, you were doing more than that. I want to specify, because you were delivering lines as someone other than yourself.
We don't need to talk. We've done enough. You're awesome. I think I'm good. I'm good.
So I don't want to feel self-conscious about saying positive things.
we've talked about that actually.
I
am a little self-conscious about it. It's actually very hard. I'm saying nice things about myself, but I'm kind of actually uncomfortable about doing so. Let's be real.
Okay. But I also just kind of wanted to logistically talk about, truthfully what that took, of like performing lines as someone other than yourself, and that's a deceptively hard thing to do.